morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whenever it is you're tuning in. Welcome to Ticket Price, and you are joining us on a very special episode 2 of What We Got Wrong. And today we will be taking a look at John Carpenter's The Thing. If you caught the first What We Got Wrong, we had special guest Sarah in-house, and she's kind of become a staple of the show. And we looked at Rocky, and she tried to tell us why it's a good movie, and she failed because it sucks.
It's still rapey.
Yeah, and terrible.
Yes.
But we're talking about a good movie today, so I'm actually excited about this one. We're talking about John Carpenter's The Thing, and if I do the opposite of what Professor Loomis does, and I actually look to my left, oh, we have a special guest. Sitting in the special guest chair. You know, man, you should really change up your walking route. You're really easy to follow.
Right. For anyone out there, there is a code word. Okay. If I say pineapple, please call the police.
So that...
Wait, is that you just saying pineapple to call the police now, or are we setting it up for later?
Pineapple.
Okay.
Glad
we cleared that up.
Yeah.
I just want you to know my safe word is pineapple.
All right.
That sultry voice, that sexy man over there to my left is... Where do I start?
You forgot my name.
I did. I'm a professional. Writer, professor, paranormal expert, Jason Offutt. Jason, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me on. This is awesome. I'm glad to be hanging out with you guys, talking about movies.
Hell yeah. This is going to be fun.
The only thing we can talk about.
I don't know anything else.
I know. One thing I really enjoyed about your intro was the very special episode. Made me think of tonight on a very special episode of Blossom. Yeah.
I thought you were going to go, and tonight on a special episode of Dateline. Writer kidnapped while walking.
Pineapple.
No, so we've known each other a handful of years now. Actually, I say that almost 10. We're getting there, I think.
Yeah.
It's been a hot minute. But how do I want to put this? Because you have what? If you combine fiction and nonfiction, you have 30-ish published books.
Man, I really wish I did. I've got my 17th is coming out in June.
I thought it was more than that.
Well, I would hope it would be more than that, but it's not. It's 17. Number 17 is coming out in June. It's the sequel to my award-winning horror novel, The Girl in the Corn. The book is called The Boy from Two Worlds, and it's again coming out June 4th.
Nice.
Very, very exciting. Very exciting stuff. You know, I too have an award-winning book.
And it is a very good book. I read it. I read it before it was published. Yep. I
That's
sure
true.
did. Yeah.
I have
just quoted the book.
I have read an award-winning book.
Hustler doesn't count.
Hey, it's won an award.
Is Hustler still around?
I don't know. I'm married and I'm not allowed to look at pornography
Just what
anymore.
copies I have under my bed. I don't know any other ones.
You're a single man. What do you mean they're out on the coffee table?
They're in the bathroom. It's my
You have a newspaper rack or a magazine rack.
Yeah.
Just Hustlers.
Yeah, when I was growing up, Dad had he put a magazine rack in the bathroom, and I grew up on a farm, and the first 4 or 5 magazines were Today's Farmer, Today's Hog Farmer, and then the rest of them were Penthouse.
So you just had to dig through the dirt to get to the good stuff.
Well, I had to dig through the dirt to get to the dirt, and I spent a lot of time in the bathroom when I was a kid.
Well, who didn't?
Who didn't?
Was it one of the big, tall metal spinny racks?
No,
or was it just a
wooden? He
wooden?
made it himself. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
But yeah, it would be a dead giveaway when you hear the squeaking of that thing spinning when you're in on the
As
shitter.
opposed to the squeaking of something else.
Yeah.
Right.
Jason, you better not be turning that rack. Also, I want to take a moment to appreciate how manly your dad is.
Oh, he's been dead for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's touchy, but I want to reiterate. So he by hand made his own wooden magazine rack to put in the bathroom and had it stocked with Today's Farmer, Today's Pig Farmer, and Penthouse.
Yes.
There's more manliness in that single sentence than I've ever exuded in my entire life.
You don't know all of it. You don't know all of it because he didn't like getting out of the bathroom. So this is before cell phones or any sort of mobile type device. He put a telephone jack in the bathroom, and there was a telephone on the back of the toilet tank.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, I had to read like back of shampoo bottles because I was bored. I didn't have that type of rack in my bathroom. When I was
you could
growing
just
up.
concentrate on the business,
No, nobody does that.
I don't read when I.
What is wrong with you, you fucking animal?
I'm just worried about what's happening.
No, reading's important. If it wasn't for that, I would have to read the shampoo bottles just as well.
You need to get yourself a copy of Modern Farmer and Pig Farmer.
I'm not that manly.
I think the shampoo and conditioner bottles should have penthouse letters on the back, then everybody would read them. Damn. I just came up with something.
That's $1
million
million dollar idea right there.
I think the three of us, hold on. We're going to have to end this episode early as we have to have a meeting.
You got some planning to do.
That's right. What are we talking about? We're talking about what we got wrong in regards to John Carpenter's The Thing. Now, Jason, one of the reasons we wanted to get you on the show is because we needed credibility. No. Now, you actually host talks about this movie almost yearly, it seems like, about this film. And one of the classes you're currently teaching is over films. And
it's
this
over
is
science fiction and horror movies. And I show The Thing every year because it's one of the greatest science fiction / horror movies ever made, in my opinion.
in
Amen.
our opinion.
Amen.
Yeah, there's going to be no dispute there.
Okay.
And as we learned, that it is my favorite horror movie, bar none. I thought original Halloween, and then we did original Halloween, and I realized that movie was
It's not that good.
it's not that good.
Mhm.
The Thing is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
So we are actually, if for those new to the show, or maybe you're a longtime listener, our fans in Morocco. That's a true statement, by the way. It sounds made up, but it's not.
And Singapore. Don't forget
And Singapore. That's right. New Zealand.
That's our newest area.
That's right. We are going all the way back to episode 2.
That's when we had one microphone.
That we
Now
shared.
We have 3.
Oh, see, thanks to our hard work and our listener support, we have tripled our microphone.
And the third microphone that I'm on is out in the backyard.
It doesn't have as nice a stand, but it's hey, not enough people are on Patreon yet. So, hold on. I guess if anyone out there if you clicked on this and you're not 100% sure what I'm on about, we're going all the way back to the year 1982. John Carpenter's The Thing, which obviously is a remake of the original black and white The Thing from Outer Space.
The Thing from Another World.
The Thing from Another World. I've got it here in my notes. Mind your business. Which is adapted from...
I thought I was here to correct you.
No, you're here to talk about the movie. Never correct me.
That's literally what this episode is called, is what we got wrong.
Whose side are you on?
You got something wrong, so he corrected you
Pineapple.
on getting something wrong.
Normally I just have to slap one old asshole, and today everyone's in for a treat because I'm about to slap multiple old assholes. But no, and then of course, films adapted from the Who Goes There, written by John W. Campbell in 1938. So again, we're talking about it's a classic. If you have any love of movies, and or specifically horror or science fiction, but I think movies in general, the whole umbrella, you probably know about John Carpenter's The Thing. And if you haven't, you need to. So we're going to just dive into it, because I'm not going to go into the whole what it made and all of that. That's not what we're here for. I do want to start this off before we fully turn it over to Jason. I have one major issue with this movie.
The fucking Norwegians.
Freaking
And their
Swedes.
throwing skills.
No, that's you. And we'll get there. If I could, Jake's re-edit this movie, the opening of the spaceship crashing to Earth, I'd cut that out completely. Cut that shit out. Because now Like, well, why are those guys shooting at the dog? Oh, it's probably aliens.
I don't have a problem with what you just said. I think I would do the same.
Because for a movie that's all about ambiguity and paranoia, well, cool. We as the audience have an explanation right out of the gate. Like, no, I'd cut that out.
Well, which is the same with the Predator. With it's the exact same intro. That's how the movie started. A spaceship comes down,
and we've talked about. We haven't done Predator yet. It's in the hat, but we've talked about how I'd cut that out. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to officially turn it over to you. So, spaceship is crashing down. Walk us through what we have missed, or what fans of this movie may not have caught or noticed.
Well, let me start out with it was horrible timing for the movie to come out because
what was it, like 2 weeks?
2 weeks before a little movie you probably never heard of called E.T. the Extraterrestrial came out.
Yeah,
and that was the science fiction movie of the summer. And when this came out, when the thing came out, nobody went and saw it. This movie was an absolute dud at the box office, which is a shame. But it's got a cult following afterward, of course, decades after, because it is so damn good. But yeah, what about Jake? I agree with you completely. The spaceship coming down was not necessary. I mean, it's okay. I don't have any real complaints, but it could have been taken out.
It spoils some of the guess who done it, what's going on, you know.
And didn't they spend like 6 months building that model of the ship for it to be on screen for like less than 2 seconds?
Well, I mean, that's the sort of thing that they did in the movies before CGI.
Yeah, but it's like, man, you're going to spend all that time just for that short of a shot that should have been cut. I agree with Jake.
Right.
Imagine how much better this movie would be if they had not done that scene and reallocated those resources to the wardrobe budget. And McCready could have gotten an actual goddamn hat.
No, that's one of the best parts of the movie.
No, it isn't.
Shining star.
It's a shiny turd.
How dare you?
Huge, ridiculous hat. That is amazing.
If they would have put that on the poster, that motherfucker would have beat E.T.
Oh, no doubt.
That is the single worst hat in cinema history.
You can shut your face right now because it is not.
I was listening to I watched this with commentary from John Carpenter and Kurt Russell. And Kurt Russell like hated the hat, but John Carpenter already established it in the movie, and he's like, "Nope, this is the hat. I love this hat. This is the hat."
Fucking John Carpenter.
Yeah. Well, you said spoilers. With the spaceship being a spoiler, there was another spoiler right after that when the Norwegian helicopter was flying overhead. Okay, and it came down, and the Norwegian was shooting and yelling in, of course, Norwegian at the Americans. Do you know what he was yelling?
No.
He said, "Get away from it, you idiots! This is not a dog; it's some kind of thing."
Oh, really? That's cool.
So if you could speak Norwegian, which this semester I had a girl in class whose family came from Norway, so she could speak some Norwegian, and she during the movie she was like, "Oh," and I paused it, and she said, "They're saying it's some kind of thing." I'm like, "Yes, they are. Good for you."
See, though,
nobody else knew that because Americans speak English because we don't know how to do anything outside our own borders, which is a shame.
But see, okay, that kind of spoiler I like. Because you know what? Even if, let's say I know Norwegian, and I'm watching this for the first time, and I hear them say that, but the spaceship scene doesn't exist, or I missed it. I was in the can, right? And I hear that. It's not a dog.
Sorry about your irritable bowel syndrome.
Thank you. Way. Like a flamethrower and an Arctic base down there. But that doesn't, because you're going, ooh, it's a thing. What does that mean? So to me, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that doesn't.
It just adds to the mystery even more. It's like, is he drunk or?
Well, especially if you take the spaceship scene out of the front of the movie.
Yeah.
That adds more to it. Again, if you speak Norwegian.
The 6 of you out there.
Right. But yeah, it comes off. It's more of an Easter egg than a spoiler.
Yeah.
So if you get it, you get it, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I like that.
Mhm.
So, okay. Is there any explanation as to why? Actually, I'm going to let Tevis go into this because you know exactly where I'm going. And this is your moment.
Why are Norwegians so bad at sports?
Wait a minute.
Wow.
Why are you wording it like?
Because this guy tries to throw this grenade and it just goes behind him.
See, I'm not as worried about that as I am as his marksmanship. Why have that gun if you can't use it?
Yeah, because he can't even shoot straight when he's on the ground, let
Right.
alone in the air.
Which I totally get when he's in the air, but he's on the ground and he shoots one of the men.
Yeah, it wings him in the leg.
Yeah, but
Maybe if it
banning
was a soccer
sucks.
ball, he would have been fine.
hockey puck.
Or the hockey puck.
The Norwegian.
Or curling. I don't know. They
Yeah.
look like a curling community.
Okay, so wait a minute. We've now asked, why are they so bad at sports? Why are they so bad at shooting? Why do Norwegians lack so much common sense? He goes to throw the grenade, it slips, it falls behind him. There are two major common sense faux pas occurring now. A, he doesn't just cut his loss and get away from the live grenade he dropped. And two, he begins to dig for the grenade, but does not dig in the clear grenade indent in the snow of where it obviously fell.
A friend of mine from back in the day, who was a Swedish foreign exchange student when I was in high school, he would enjoy this Norwegian bashing.
Oh, did he
Oh,
really?
he would. He hated Norwegians. I am not going to join in the Norwegian bashing.
I think it's too late for that.
Wow.
Hey,
it's just these two Norwegians, actually.
Okay.
no, we don't. I've checked our analytics. We don't have listeners in Norway. I don't care.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, fuck both of these Norwegians.
All I'm going to say to all of our friends in Norway is Hinka Dinka Durgan.
Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry. And you said you weren't going to join in on the bashing?
Hey, it's Leif Erikson Day, right? Not today, but I'm just celebrating Leif Erikson
It's
Day.
Leif Erikson Day somewhere in the it's Leif
Somewhere.
Erikson Day somewhere.
Maybe we had war with Norway.
All right. So they come
I
down.
believe that was a direct quote from the movie when they were in the helicopter.
Bang, bang, bang. Why are you so bad at shooting? I'm drunk. It's Leif Erikson Day. Bam, bam, bam. So, but now the helicopter explodes for
Ridiculous reason.
reasons, I guess.
Yeah.
But they now have the dog. And man, this movie starts cooking, and it starts cooking fast.
It does, and I have a real issue with the dog just from the fact that don't you think if a couple of guys in a helicopter were chasing and shooting at this dog, and their helicopter blew, they both died, for gosh sakes. The helicopter blew up, killed one of them, and then the captain shot the other one in the eye. But don't you think that because they were after this dog, that maybe the people would have thought, not an alien, but maybe the dog has some sort of disease,
Rabies?
or something. Maybe we should put him somewhere away from us, so we can see if something's wrong with him instead of letting him crawl around under our feet.
Well, they make a couple of mistakes like that. Like when they go to the base, the Norwegian base, and they find the bodies that are burned and they bring one back.
No, the only body they brought back was the one that wasn't burned.
No, but it was just a twisted, smoking mess, and they
And
bring
had
it
a head
out.
like that.
Yeah, and it had
And
two
I just
heads.
held up two hands together. You cannot see that.
Yes, thank you
But it
for
was very effective.
for the visual aid for our listening audience.
Mhm.
But yeah, they don't do any kind of quarantine at all, really.
It was 1982.
We should be thankful Wilford Brimley had gloves on when he did the autopsy of it.
See, and that's another thing with the autopsy that bothered me is they didn't wear masks or anything over their eyes to shield their eyes.
Well, he already had glasses on.
It's not like some of that stuff could have squirted in their face and
Yeah, the smoke. I mean, what's up with the
anything,
smoke?
right?
But you said it was 1982, but 2 weeks prior, they quarantined E.T., in the house so that he didn't infect the neighbors. So it's kind of, I don't know. That always bothered me that they just brought that thing into the base and was just like, hey, let's put it on the table and let's cut it open.
Right. Well, I mean,
Cut it like a birthday cake.
Brimley goes elbow deep.
Okay, so what they were there for is they were studying magnetics.
Is that official?
Is what the scientists were there for, to study magnetics. And the only medical type people they had Doc, and Wilford Brimley was a scientist, and he was only 45 at the time, by the way.
God.
He was 45.
Yeah.
He looks 67.
I know.
Wilford
You know, when he
Brimley.
did Cocoon, he was in his 50s. Yeah, anyway. So they didn't
Damn.
have any actual scientists. They had the stoner. They had the unhinged guy with the radio. They had the guy who smoked pot and cooked and rode on roller skates.
Now wait a minute. The
They had
cook did.
McReady.
We never saw the cook smoke anything.
Oh yeah, no, he smoked with the stoner.
No child smoked with the stoner.
The cook smoked. Trust me, dude. I've seen this movie more than you have. I can guarantee you that. Anyway, the point is,
Wait. When does he smoke with the stoner?
when the stoner's laying in bed. That is, anyway.
Right, but he's sharing a room with Childs, who isn't the cook.
Okay, JFC, dude. Just, why is this a point of contention? The point I'm trying to make? The point I'm trying to make is the fact that they don't have very many medical type scientists down there. Okay? So whenever they decide, hey, one of them even said somebody's going to win the Pulitzer Prize, not the Pulitzer, but the Nobel Prize with this discovery. Okay? So they were more excited about what this crazy shit was, than taking safety precautions that they really weren't prepared to take. If it would have been an entire medical staff, I'm sure they would have taken the correct precautions, even in 1982.
So you're saying that perhaps Clark's first interaction with the dog shouldn't have been open mouth tonguing each other?
I don't know. That was a pretty dog.
I mean, those huskies are good, great looking
Gorgeous.
dogs.
Good kissers, too, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Shouldn't Clark have been our first infected?
Well, that's the beauty of the movie is it's not just a horror movie. It's not just a science fiction movie. It is a closed room mystery.
Mm-hmm.
So the beauty is we don't know who is affected. Until they show that they are affected, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Until God, I can't remember the guy's name, the guy with the beard, who went outside and they saw him on
with the
fire.
hands?
Yeah, with the hands.
Yeah.
Bennings.
Yeah.
Bennings, yeah.
Bennings.
Okay, we didn't know he was affected until then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we didn't know whenever Doc's hands got bitten off.
Yeah.
By the stomach. We didn't know, who the alien was at that point because of the closed door mystery. Even I'm getting ahead of myself, but the end, we still don't know.
Right. And when we officially get there, I definitely want to pick your brain on all of the harebrained ideas of like, well, I've solved if Childs was infected or not because of this bullshit thing. Like, meh, let me push my glasses up. Meh. They're awful. All these fan theories about like definitively 100% Childs is infected because. Shut up.
Here's the deal. Enjoy the damn movie. I don't care who's infected. It makes the movie better to me that I don't know.
Or know the order. I like that.
Yeah.
We don't ever really know the order because I've seen them, the things you're talking about.
Oh, go on YouTube. There are hundreds of channels. I know the exact order of infection and how it spread. And no, you don't. Shut up. Essentially, they finally get the dog kenneled.
All right. Well, they do. After the dog wanders the base, and after the dog, they're petting him underneath the pool table or whatnot, the ping pong table. After The one woman in the entire movie, the computer, gets killed by McReady by, tossing scotch onto it and calls her a bitch.
A cheating bitch.
This is really a sausage movie, by the way. There's, other than the dogs, there's one woman and she's a dead computer.
Yeah, but okay, but that makes sense. In 82, would there be a female in a U.S. military research base? Or a U.S. I don't know if it's military, but a U.S. research base? Like, that wouldn't be co-ed, would it?
I wasn't in the military in 1982, so I can't answer that question.
How was Canada?
I was 14 years old, man.
I'm making a draft dodging joke.
Yeah. By the way, the draft wasn't in effect in 1982.
Had they canceled it by then?
Yeah.
Then why did we all have to sign up for selective service or risk jail time?
When we're 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with the movie?
What is it? We're just talking.
Jesus Christ.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Okay, so the dog finally gets quarantined. And what happens? It tries to assimilate. If I can Borg this, it tries to assimilate the other dogs.
Great scene.
And it's one of the things that I loved about the movie, and my students appreciated, which was great, is the fact that it was all practical effects. This was before CGI. All of this, even the guy's hands getting bit off later, was all practical. The guy without hands was an actual amputee.
Yeah, that was pretty cool that they did that.
Yeah. Anyway, so they find out that they're actually dealing with something that they don't understand, which I'm not sure if at that point they realize it's an alien, because why would they? It's not until they go out and find the spaceship in the ice,
right,
that they realize that it's an alien.
Yeah, even at the dog, it could be anything.
It could be anything at that point. And something Lovecraftian at that point, which it really kind of was.
Literal
anyway.
Christian demon. I don't like it. That could have been anything.
But that was a really exciting scene. I really loved the fact that the movie got flamethrowers wrong, like all movies do. Flamethrowers don't last that long. Their fuel disappears really quickly. They're good for a few blasts, and that's about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
I
to
did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, that would explain why they had 87 of them in storage.
Which is a good point, yes.
Because I think we even made the joke on our episode. It's like, what do they research? We had no idea it was about magnetism. But we were like, well, obviously they research flamethrowers. Because that's the only reason there's so many flamethrowers.
Why would there be one?
Ice melting.
That might be how they get rid of their trash, too. I don't know.
It's 1982 and they're Americans. They just throw this shit outside, okay?
That's true. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Just bury it over by the Norwegians. It'll be fine.
Right.
Bury it.
What do they know? Set it on fire and throw it at them.
Yeah.
Bork.
Heard you, Berg.
Sorry.
He's not sorry.
I'm so sorry.
He's not.
Yeah. But yes, they discovered that the dog, and that whatever the creature is, it is trying to copy what the dogs were. It's trying to look like the dogs. And then they, of course, later find out when it tries to assimilate people, which it does assimilate people, it's copying everyone that it comes in contact with. One of my favorite scenes is when, is it Blair? Is that
the doctor?
the doctor?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
When he's on the computer typing in information and trying to get some results on this thing, here's a nice 1980s computer graphic on a virus touching a normal cell, invading the cell, consuming the cell, splitting, and going after more cells. And then the question is, how long would it take or what are the percentage? What is the chance that if one person's infected, other people are infected, and there's a chance that 75% of the people on the base are infected. And then he gets to the point to where, what if this got out into the real world? 3 years is what it would take for every last human being on the planet to be gone.
That's the breakdown. Because I doesn't the computer spit out an answer in hours?
It's hours or days. I did the math.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Yeah, so but
It's 3 years.
It's 3 years.
It's 3 years.
I actually really enjoyed the breakdown of we see the virus cell, the infection, the splitting off, and the how it replicates. I thought that was cool. But 70s and 80s movies, sci-fi movies, it's become a pet peeve of mine where they all have this like alien mother computer, thing. And like Wilfred, I'm like, what the hell is he typing? What program is Wilfred Brimley typing in that it's just like, at the rate of infection, it will be 3 years, blah, blah, blah. What?
Now,
What are you typing in?
Okay, so in this case, I agree with you. In 1979's Alien, they've got enough technology to where that's okay.
Oh no, I'm.
But with 1982, with the Americans in Antarctica, that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. Oh no, it existing in Alien makes sense. I just find it irritating. I don't like the know-it-all computer. McCready needs to share a drink with them.
Mm-hmm.
Lying bitches.
So here we are. The dogs, we've got people starting to question things. We go up, McCready goes up in a storm to go over to with the dock to go over with the Norwegians and check that out. And what they discover there is the body's set on fire.
Mm-hmm.
The base is completely torn to hell. They find a block of ice that looks like a freaking sarcophagus that had something in it that's not there anymore. And then they bring home a bunch of papers nobody can read because they're in Norwegian, and a video machine. And when they get back to the base, they look at the video and they find the Norwegians using whatever crap that Walter White used to burn through the lock on that storage shed, to get the things to make crank with. Anyway,
science, man, it's science.
I love science.
He used science.
You science, bitches.
Yeah.
So you do have a plan? Yeah, Mr. White. Yes, science.
So they see something that they can't explain and go out there. And what they find is a flying saucer that had been buried for at least 100,000 years.
I never really thought of this before until you just brought it up. Like, why the hell was the doctor gathering up all the papers if nobody could read it?
Yeah, I have no idea. He said it might be something important.
See, though, if I try to
unless he's going to take it back, take it back
he would
home.
have to take it back.
That's
home.
my thought.
Yeah,
but okay, if the thought is they don't know it's going to replicate, like Blair, while they're going to the Norwegian base, Blair is doing his math and figuring out that it's going to replicate and what's going to happen if it gets out. The rest of the team doesn't know that. So McCready and the doc don't know that yet. I actually get the gathering up as much information on what the Norwegians were doing, because you're probably sitting here thinking this is a big issue, possibly an international incident, depending on how somebody wanted to look at it.
There are two dead Norwegians on the American base.
One of them killed because base captain, Marshall Dillon broke the window like an asshole and shot that guy in the face.
I was wondering when El Capitan was going to get a chance to use his pop gun.
Which, that was stupid. Why the hell would he break the window? Open the damn door!
That's what I said!
Cowardly? That's the only thing I can think of.
Too many Westerns.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he said, too, was, Oh my God, is this an episode of Gunsmoke? Because he has to throw in Gunsmoke.
As much as I can. As much as I can. I loved Gunsmoke.
Which, let's make a connection, because James Arness, who was
the thing
in the 1951 The Thing from Another World. Yeah.
Cool.
See? It all comes around.
Back around.
Mhm.
Okay.
So in the grand scheme of things, if I'm the doc and I'm sitting here thinking, collect what we can, because when we have to report this, we're going to hand these specimens and this information off to someone who can actually do something with it. Gather as much information, because the answer could be in these pages. I just can't read them.
Right.
But someone could.
Which that does definitely make sense.
Yeah.
Definitely makes sense.
That hat, though.
No, shut up about the hat. The hat's awesome.
It's not.
All right, so they get back, and then things start going to hell. I mean, after they get back from finding the spaceship, which should have sent absolutely everyone into shock, but didn't. Anyway, they get back, and things start going wrong because they discover, after they take the body that they got, and they cut into it. They dissected it, and then they moved it back into the storeroom, and then it attacked somebody. At that point, they start realizing that this thing is going to get them.
Now, because in the storeroom, it's Bennings, which I still think when we catch him mid-transformation, to me,
horrifying.
that's the most haunting
He's got his
version
mouth
of
open.
but it looks like it, except his horrifying hands, and then this otherworldly screech, like that one sends chills down my. Everything else, you're like, that's
Every
a cool
time.
monster.
Every time.
The Bennings one gives me chills because I'm like, oh my god, it hits home so completely on that one.
Movie is so old, and it still is effective. That's beautiful.
And that's what we talked about during the episode and in the awards show, because we were talking about special effects in general and if they hold up. And we broke it down to, well, what does the question asker mean by hold up? Does it still look photo real, like the T-Rex paddock escape at Jurassic Park, which still holds up perfectly, by the way? Or are you looking at it more in the broader sense of does it still do what special effects are meant to do, which is elicit an emotional response from your viewers? Because does the thing look photo real or realistic? No, and it didn't then either, but it'll damn sure elicit a response.
Right. I mean, and there are a lot of, God, special effects have changed so much. Ray Harryhausen's work was brilliant for the day, but looking at it now, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you all have ever seen the original cut of Star Wars.
No.
It does not look that great, but when I was a little kid watching it in the theater, it was, man, they were in space doing all this stuff, but it doesn't hold up. But we can't watch it anymore because George Lucas screwed that up. But anyway, so this has some problems, this movie, special effects wise, but they're minimal. That scene is freaking brilliant. The scene with the dog is brilliant, although it's got a few issues. The only scene to me that doesn't hold up is where the head sprouts legs and scampers off like a spider.
What the immortal words of Palmer, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
I love that whole scene.
My students loved that, but they laughed when the spider head wandered off.
Yeah.
So
but is that the exact moment with Spiderhead that you're talking about as far as doesn't work, is when it is scampering, for lack of a better word? It's because it is kind of just like deedly
totally scampers. That is the only special effects that really don't hold up.
Because I'm picturing it now in my head, but like when you see Norris's head sprout the legs, and then you.
Oh, that's really effective.
And then when they all turn and it's just staring at him in the doorway, right? But and then they it's so effective. It works. But yeah, now that you say it, there is just a couple of frames. It's short, but it's just long enough that you're like, did that fucking thing just scamper by?
Still not as bad
Windows
as the Windows puppet.
We're not there yet.
Now, Windows, I don't know why Windows was allowed to be there. Why did he pass his psych exam? They all had to undergo psych exams. I don't know why Windows did.
Well, how did Blair pass his? Because you know what? Everyone kind of handles this moderately well. He goes on a murderous rampage.
I know, but was he affected or infected by the thing at that point? When he destroyed all of the transmission devices, when he destroyed the computers, was he already affected?
And
we don't know. That's the beauty of this. We don't know the time frame when the people have the thing in them or the thing has replicated them.
Now,
wasn't he just doing that to keep the thing there?
That is my perception, that he was doing that because he knew that if the thing got out, the entire human race was gone.
So yeah, he was destroying every communication device so that nobody could come and rescue them, every possible means of escape.
So, but then they took him and they locked him up. But he was the thing at that point.
Yeah, because he digs the hole and starts building the spaceship.
See, now for the fun of it, I think Blair freaks out, destroys the helicopters, the Bobcat bulldozer, whatever that is, destroys it, takes out the all communication. He's isolating them. I think he's human. I don't believe he becomes infected until he's isolated in the shed. And just for the fun, this is my mental canon, right? Because that's part of the fun of this movie is this movie is a puzzle with very important pieces purposely removed. So you can't see the full picture. So then you as the audience member create your missing pieces, right? I think Blair is infected in the shed. They check on him. Blair, have you seen Fuchs? And he's like, guys, there's a noise out here and it's not Fuchs. I need to come inside. I even think then he's human. I think shortly after that, he becomes infected because he ends up fashioning a noose and is going to kill himself. But when we see him, the noose is just there hanging as he's sitting in a chair eating like a can of beans or something. What stopped him? I think it got him mid-suicide attempt.
Okay, so that makes sense, but what also makes sense is he destroyed all of the equipment as the alien, as the thing, to keep these people from getting loose and warning everybody else, because he'd already started working on his flying saucer, because he was going to get out no matter what. He was going to get out and infect the world, and maybe that was to stop everybody else from warning people.
And maybe he was using that stuff that he was destroying too to help build his ship.
Help build the ship.
Like he's tearing parts off of the helicopter and the bulldozer, and
when they find the ship, doesn't someone even make a comment about some of the parts? I think is there not a comment made?
I think there is.
I believe so. Yeah.
God damn, this movie's so layered. I love it. I love this movie. Fucking Blair.
No, that's the thing. That's one of the things about the thing is the fact that there are so many right answers.
Mm-hmm.
Possible right answers. Yeah.
It's good stuff.
It's good, great stuff.
So, okay. So they detain Wilford Brimley. Blair. Thank you. I was like, what's his name? Blair. They detain him. And that's when Fuchs because Fuchs was kind of like Blair's assistant, or at least that's the vibe I got from him.
Whenever the doctor got killed.
Yeah.
Fuchs, he was helping Blair out because Blair got the doc position, even though he wasn't a medical doctor. I don't think he was just a scientist.
Yeah.
But Fuchs was helping him, and the shit went down when Fuchs turned into what he was, which was the multi-handed screeching alien that they set on fire. Because when they went back,
oh no, that's Bennings.
That was Bennings?
Yeah. Bennings it gets the hand and the screaming. Fuchs was the little squirrely guy with glasses, and he just disappears. And everyone's like, where the hell did Fuchs go? And they find a charred corpse with Fuchs's glasses.
Right. You're right.
Which I still, to this day, I still believe he is the most heroic out of all of them there.
I think the time where the shit really gets real in this is whenever they tie a few of the people up, including Childs and the commander. All right, and then they test the blood.
I love this whole sequence.
That is when the stuff goes down, because it could be you. It could be you. It could be you. And it's nobody up until it's somebody. And he's sitting on the couch tied up with everybody else. And they're like, get me off this goddamn couch. Untie me. That is absolutely beautiful. And then Windows gets the shit knocked out of him again.
Yeah, but he has the worst death in this movie. It looks so bad.
Yeah.
You were talking about the special effect that doesn't work, the scampering head. For me, it's the obvious ragdoll of Windows' body getting thrown up into the ceiling.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That is bad.
That is pretty bad.
Like, come on. Everything else this movie does, that thing should have literally just bit Windows' head off. And then you still could have had the headless body shaking and jiving and doing a little dance in the corner.
You know what? And it sprouting another head would have looked awesome.
And they could have done that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, the throwing of the body is that's a little tough. It's a little tough to sit there.
You know what? The one thing about this movie, I guess, thinking about it right now, that really bugs me is whenever McReady is locked outside.
When the cook cuts the rope.
Cuts the rope, and McReady, because he found one of McReady's shirts that had his name in it, or on it, and they locked him outside. And the room that McReady breaks into, he's got the dynamite. On a shelf are these huge boxes of Milk Duds. Who the fuck likes Milk Duds enough to where they're cases of Milk Duds?
I do.
In the Antarctic. I don't know.
I'm raising my hand right now.
Oh my god.
I'm a big fan of Milk Duds.
Man.
Was the Milk Duds right next to the dynamite?
Which was also right next to the flamethrowers.
Yeah. Yeah, whoever stacked the shelves.
I bet they put their chicken on the top shelf in the refrigerator, so all that juice just runs down.
Yeah.
Right onto the fish.
Yeah.
And a lettuce.
Yeah.
All that.
They don't give a shit.
Which one of you disgusting ass men left your dirty drawers in my kitchen trash can? We're led to believe that was one of the things, like discarded clothing. No, that was just some asshole throwing his dirty undies in the trash.
Fucking child.
It probably was child.
After he was high.
The tension that is in this movie is fantastic.
Yes.
Because it keeps building and building, and the paranoia, because you got to look at when this was, 1982. The Cold War was still going big. All right. So yeah, I graduated from high school in 83. That's how old I am. And where I went to college was close to Whiteman Air Force Base. I was in Warrensburg. And driving to school, there were Nike missile bases right off the highway.
Oh, man.
That I would drive by, and it was normal stuff. And, of course, Whiteman was right there. So whenever tensions were high, I remember my roommates and I made this big poster board sign that was a bullseye. And we're like, so if the Russians launch, we're just going to sit out in lawn chairs and drink beer. And here's the bullseye, because we couldn't drive fast enough to get away from any bombs. But so anyway, so that's where I grew up in the Cold War. So this movie was a couple of years before that. So when you think of paranoia, this movie fits right into the Cold War era. Of we need to watch out, even for the people closest to us. I mean, that's going back a little bit farther to the 50s and 60s.
I was going to say that's like straight McCarthyism.
Yeah, but still, it was a thing.
Oh yeah,
it was a thing. So
it was the thing.
So the paranoia in this movie, was a product of the times, and I think it was really well done because nobody knows. Still to this damn day.
I can't think of another movie that's done paranoia so well.
No, I can't think of anything.
There's nothing that comes to mind.
There have been ones that have done paranoia, but this well, no. This is fantastic.
The one that comes to mind is another Kurt Russell movie, The Hateful Eight. And man, that movie is a tough sit through.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's got a heavy thing references.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very, very much a homage to this movie.
It's a closed door mystery.
Yeah, they're locked in a cabin and
it's snowing. They're trapped in the snow.
Yeah, they have the rope paths just like this movie, and
it's a good watch, but still, it's kind of rough.
Yeah, it doesn't do the paranoia nearly as well as this does.
Mm-hmm. As we've just established, that's not necessarily a hard critique of Hateful Eight or anything else because. Well, this movie X doesn't do paranormal or paranoia as well as John Carpenter's thing. Nothing does.
Nothing does. Right.
Well, I'm sorry, Jason. You're not as fast as Usain Bolt. Cool. Who is? Show me who I lost to.
I hate to quote this movie because I hate Will Ferrell so much, but if you're not first, you're last. So. I am faster than you, Usain Bolt. No, but okay, so here we are. Yeah, we're finally got to the point to where everybody knows they're fucked. They are absolutely screwed. And they know they can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they going to do? They're going to heat everything up by setting everything on fire, exploding everything, and the cook and the commander of the base, have their issues. In a really well-stocked basement. And at the end, we've got Kurt Russell, McReady, and we've got Childs, played by Keith David. If there's going to be somebody who's going to narrate my life, I want it to be Keith David. So
I get that. Yeah.
His voice is beautiful. So at the end, is the paranoia over? It kind of is because they both realize we're screwed either way. One of them may be an alien, maybe the Thing. Neither of them may be. They both may be. And at the end, we don't know. I love the ending.
Mm-hmm.
The ambiguity. They don't make movies that end like that. So I appreciate the mystery continuing.
Fire's got the temperature up all over the camp. Won't last long, though.
Neither will we.
How will we make it?
Maybe we should.
If you're worried about me...
If we've got any surprises for each other... I don't think we're in much shape to do anything about it.
Well, what do we do?
Why don't we just wait here for a little while?
And as you said earlier, there are debates. There are people analyzing this on YouTube, right?
Oh, hundreds.
I don't want to watch that because I don't care what they have to say. I like it the way it is. There's talks that John Carpenter is going to make a sequel. I don't want to see that.
We were just discussing that earlier.
Yeah.
They were talking Wyatt.
With
Russell.
Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
Being McCready, which, how do I put this? If you're bringing him in to take the mantle and wear that ridiculous hat, like that works. But I'm okay with the idea, but it's got to be oh so careful. And we've talked about it with other directors and filmmakers on the show when we've looked at maybe older films versus newer films of some of these pantheon level filmmakers. But man, looking at like Carpenter's modern stuff, he doesn't have it anymore.
No, I mean, he had a lot of hits and misses.
Mhm.
His hits were terrific. I mean, Halloween when I was in 8th grade was wonderful, but as an adult, an old man, it's not that good.
Yeah, I agree.
Big Trouble in Little China. I love that movie so much. Again, another Kurt Russell. Escape from New York, another Carpenter, Kurt Russell movie's terrific. I think my second favorite, however, John Carpenter movie is They Live. With
yeah.
Keith David and
Rowdy
Piper. Yeah.
Yeah, but he, like you said, he has had a lot of misses too, like the Ghosts of Mars, and
it was so bad. And Vampires, I didn't like Vampires.
Vampires was terrible.
It had a good cast, but it just wasn't a good movie.
And then they tried to do the sequel to Escape from New York with Escape from LA,
which was terrible.
Yeah, I say I would almost rather see them try to remake this than do a sequel. Leave the original alone. Don't do a sequel.
This is a remake. We don't need another remake. I hate remakes so much. They did a prequel to this.
It's terrible.
Terrible.
Which is terrible.
Terrible. I like the idea of seeing what happened
to the
Norwegians, but man, they relied heavily on the CGI, and the creatures looked like shit.
I read that they wanted to do practical, but the studio was like, no, we're doing this.
Yeah, but even thinking back to that one, the sequel thing, practical or computer generated, I don't think would have mattered, because the core issues with that film's special effects is how they were used, not what they were made out of.
Right, because if you look at, you mentioned Jurassic Park earlier, 1993. It had CGI, but it had mostly practical effects.
Yeah.
And what CGI was used was effective. And then there were movies like Harry Potter, the early ones, their CGI, it looked terrible because it wasn't used effectively.
And when you think of the sequel thing, when you see like people are, because the main character is that female scientist or whatever her name is, but she's like running down the corridors as a monster is chasing her. It's that kind of monster movie, which completely misses the entire target. They didn't just miss their bullseye. They were at a different shooting range.
Which completely happens with a lot of remakes. One of my all-time favorite science fiction movies, Robert Weiss's, I think it was 51, 52, The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Mm.
And
the remake of that?
No, I recently had an hour, 2 hours to blow, and I'm like, that movie's on. I might as well give it a shot. And it was another one that completely missed the point of the first movie. The first movie had a societal issue that it was tackling, and this one sort of did, but it really, really missed the point.
Yeah.
So you were saying about some YouTube theories out there that you wanted to
so yeah, we're just gonna
discuss.
I want to just throw some of these at, and you're probably familiar with most of the major ones, but I think it'll be fun just to get to, and Tevis, this is open to you as well. We'll talk about it. That's part of the fun of it. So theory 1, we'll say Childs is definitely the thing because they're out in the cold. And cannot
he doesn't
see
have any. His breath doesn't.
His
show.
breath doesn't show, but McCready's does. And no, I'm not going to say anything. What do you find, gentlemen? Stand on that one.
It could just be a mistake. It could just. Yeah.
I think you could still kind of see it. I don't know. I think maybe the way it was lit, you couldn't really tell that he was. I don't know. I think it's bullshit.
May I, before we get to the next one?
Sure.
See, it could be a mistake, but the diehards, this film has no mistakes, right? Which, if you're one of those people, eat my ass, because every film, no matter how much you love it, has a mistake. Except me.
Are they the Stanley Kubrick fans?
Fight me, Stanley Kubrick fans. Don't get me started on him or James Cameron. We're not talking about them right now. We're not
problems
talking
with Cameron. I also have problems with Christopher Nolan.
but again, an audience member with intelligence, you probably should have issues with everyone because no one's perfect and nothing is perfect. So when you're like, this movie's a mess, shut up. Now, Childs has been outside because he, air quote, thought he saw Blair and went to get him. And then he could never go back inside because shit's been blowing up. So he's been stranded outside in the Arctic. His body temperature would have gone down. So it's very possible that he was cold enough, his breath would not have produced heat vapor because his body was not warm enough to produce heat vapor at that time. Thus, he didn't, right?
Let's look at this practically. Let's look at the fact that this is a movie and Keith David wasn't in the scene for a while, and they filmed it, most of it in Alaska, and he was probably inside a tent with heaters. I don't know. I'm just saying it's probably a screw up that people are making way too much of a big deal over.
All right. Theory 2. Childs is definitely the thing because all throughout the movie, Childs has an earring in, but at the end, he does not. Which, while you see, I wish we had a visual media right now. We've tried recording video and it hasn't. We're working on it.
Tevin and I have a WTF face on.
Yeah. You and
Always.
Tevis. We joke about his name all the time, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's not the first time today. And I've been home all day by myself.
Well, see, as soon as Jennifer Connelly,
Hustler again?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, see, Jennifer Connelly is going to get in touch with him. They're going to get married. And as part of the arrangement is he will legally change his name to Jennifer Connelly. He's not only going to take her last name, he's going to take her first name. But no. So I want to throw this out here because you guys are both looking at me like, what are you talking about? This is a theory that's out there that Childs has an earring and then at the end he doesn't. And that's actually a theory that they ran with in the prequel we just talked about with the terrible special effects, because they then tried to explain John Carpenter's by showing and even talking about it was a major plot point that the thing could not replicate inanimate objects or features on a host that it assimilates. So if I had a nose ring in, it could assimilate me, but not the nose ring. So thing me wouldn't have a nose ring, right? So that's and they work that into the plot of the sequel. And so now their fans are taking that and bringing it over to the original. Or not original, but you know what I mean, John Carpenter's.
So metal can't time travel unless it's encased in human flesh.
Oh, don't get me started on that, but we'll say yes.
Yeah, okay.
Tevis?
I don't like the fact that the prequel has any effect on the John Carpenter's the thing.
Right.
The prequel should be thrown in the garbage and lit on fire.
Now, having watched this recently, I'm also fairly certain that Childs, it does have his earring in, but I will also state that I could easily be wrong because of his coat and his stocking cap. You can't really see his ears to really make that call one way or another. Oh, Jason's having some kind of attack.
I'm just going to say what William Shatner said in the Star Trek parody episode from Saturday Night Live. Get a life.
And for our bingo listeners, there's our bad impression.
Oh, it's actually a pretty good impression.
All right. So, yeah, it's that is way too minor.
Oh, yeah.
Way too minor.
All right. Theory 3.
Oh.
Childs is definitely the thing. Now I'm doing the Shatner. It's so infectious.
Actually, I think we should all do the Shatner.
I'm going to go take a Shatner. So,
all right. So Childs is definitely the thing because it is stated in the film that for safety precautions, everyone should prepare their own meals and only eat and drink out of closed containers that they open. So then at the end, McCready clearly states, well, we're probably both screwed, and then hands Childs a bottle that he had been drinking out of. And Childs accepts it without any issue and takes a swig, and then it's McCready giving him that like look as the paranoia music plays and the movie fades out.
They both know they're dead. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. He's like, well, you know what? I probably shouldn't. Fuck it. I'm going to get drunk and just die in the snow. So yeah, that proves nothing.
All right.
Or he's probably just not even thinking straight. He's just like, fuck, I'm so cold. Yes. And then after he takes a swig, he's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that.
Possibly.
Yeah.
All right. Last one I want to touch on, and it might be the worst one.
Oh, good.
Theory number 4. And why Childs is definitely the thing. Are you noticing a pattern here?
It's always got to be the black guy, doesn't it?
Yeah, nice, Jake.
Yeah, this is my fault. I'm sorry, everyone. So
always got to be racial.
I only have 2 forms of comedy, racial and blue. I'm sorry. So
wouldn't blue be a kind of racial if you like there were blue people?
I thought you were going to say if I was talking about black dicks.
Wow, you know, I don't want to be here anymore. Pineapple.
You brought it up. So Childs is dead. He's not going to be coming back, is he? You know, you're not the first special guest we've scared off. So, theory 4, Childs is definitely the thing. McCready hands him a bottle to drink out of. Childs drinks it and acts like it's normal. However, at that moment, McCready automatically knows that Childs is, not only do we, the audience, know Childs is infected, McCready knows Childs is infected and is the thing. Because they had made Molotov cocktails out of those alcohol bottles. And to do that, they had to dump all the alcohol out and replace it with gasoline so that the liquid would be flammable and explode to burn the base down. So Childs was not drinking alcohol. He was drinking gasoline, purposely given to him by McCready for a test.
That is the stupidest goddamn thing you've said all night.
I didn't say it.
Oh.
So I'm going to let you guys discuss that for a second.
Okay, so when is alcohol? I mean, whiskey. This is Scotch whiskey. When is that not flammable? And Molotov cocktails aren't explosive. What they do is spread fire. So, so they weren't drinking gasoline. And as a matter of fact, McCready is such an alcoholic. I'm sure he's got so many bottles of Scotch that they didn't have to, mess with. That it was probably J&B.
I would put more into that theory if we saw him like discard a rag, something that may have been in the bottle,
or the fact that McCready drank it too.
And also, that's according to this theory. That's all. It's not how Molotovs work. It's not. I would like to point out, alcohol has been used to make Molotov cocktails for hundreds of years. We didn't need to empty the bottles first and replace it with gasoline.
Dude, stay off TikTok, please.
I'm too old for TikTok. No, I just wanted to talk about some of the more prevalent fan theories that are out there. And this is by far not all of them.
Theory number 5, or is it number 6?
5.
Number 5. Theory number 5 is that Childs is the thing because the actor Keith David plays the president on Rick and Morty, and he hates aliens. Therefore, him being nice to McCready and drinking the whiskey with him means
gasoline.
He's definitely the thing.
I believe he drank gasoline.
It's not gasoline. Shut up. It's not gasoline.
We're gonna have to get guests on here that are less aggressive. I don't like being the second most aggressive one at the table. All right, gentlemen. Anything else before we wrap up our revisit of John Carpenter's The Thing?
No, not for me. Let's just throw a Molotov cocktail on this bitch.
Right. I mean, I still have a few little problems with it. As a person who doesn't relish the thought of dying by either fire or ice, I would have probably saved something, saved a little bit of the base to live in. And but then again, I'm also selfish and wouldn't give a shit if I, infected the entire world. So I'm probably the worst person to talk to.
And you're the problem.
Theory 6, Jason Offutt is the thing.
All right. You want to talk about things I have a problem with? Not quality-wise. It just really freaks me out. If you are the Thing, and you're going to do the Wilford Brimley Blair face grab, and your fingers are going to, assimilate to someone's face skin.
That was so cool.
Go for Tevis, please, because that really freaks me out.
Plus, it would hide with the beard.
I know, you wouldn't be able to see it with the beard. Yeah.
That makes me more okay with it.
No, that was a great death.
Because he just, boom, and just grabs the captain by the face, and then, his the flesh of his fingers is already assimilating the captain's face. So it all just becomes this long, stringy, fleshy connection. And then he's pulling the dead captain down the hallway by his face.
It's got a captain glove. It's gross.
I haven't had to wear a captain glove in a long time.
Okay.
Remember your captain's glove, everyone.
Also, remember the audio. Audio was great because we've talked about it before. The howl out in the snow. Benning's howl is so creepy. Absolutely beautiful. The only other noise, I think, from a science fiction movie that affected me as much as that was Donald Sutherland's screech in 1978's The Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, the sound and the look on his face.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Which Benning's the look on his face as well, along with the screech. I mean, those were just eerie.
You look like you want to say something.
Always.
Or do you have to poop?
Always. My wife says those are my two biggest problems. Can we just comment? So, the final monster, in my opinion, is the weakest monster in this movie.
Because it's not as human as the other ones.
And it's also, it's like a pillar of flesh and bone with multiple tendrils and a bunch of dog faces. I feel like, okay, we know that this amalgamation has dog in it, but it would also have Blair in it. It would also have the cook in it. It would also have the captain in it. I personally would have liked to have seen more of those humans. Give us the three people's heads somewhere incorporated screaming at Kurt Russell.
What are the most popular monsters? Other than kaiju monsters, they don't count in what I'm saying because they're awesome on a completely different level. But zombies have been so popular since Night of the Living Dead in 1968. Vampires have been popular forever. The Frankenstein's monster, werewolves, all of these, the Terminator, let's bring him in there too. Monsters, I think, to me, are more frightening if they look human. They look, because people, you shouldn't be afraid. I mean, you should be, honestly, because people are scary as hell. But honestly, you shouldn't be afraid of people. Okay, we're all one big happy family, or at least we should be. So when a monster looks human, or at least close to it, that gives you an extra chill. That's why Invasion of the Body Snatchers was so chilling, was the fact that you didn't know who was a monster or not. It's the same with The Thing. You didn't know who was the monster or not. With again, with zombies, with Frankenstein's monster, that was actually was a human, multiple humans in one body. But that's terrifying to me. And zombies, they've been played out. I'm bored with them. But whenever you take a zombie, especially when you change the age, what was the most terrifying zombie, or at least the saddest zombie kill in The Walking Dead? The little 9-10-year-old girl in the
first episode.
Because she was human. She wasn't. And you had to kill her. You didn't want to. But she could have killed you if you'd let her. So that's what I mean. That's what I'm agreeing with the monster, because it was a monster. If it would have been more human, I think it would have been a stronger finish.
But we do get the greatest one-liner from a movie hero ever in that moment, while the beast is roaring at him and whatever, and McCready lights the dynamite. Yeah, fuck you too, dynamite. Greatest one-liner ever.
Yeah, fuck you too. No.
No, it is though.
You never watched a Bruce Campbell movie, have you?
Oh, I have. Those lines are porny and terrible, which is why I enjoy them.
You see, we're gonna have a fist fight before this show's over. Me and Jake, we're gonna throw down.
Let's get it on.
So, all right, everyone. I think we're there. We're there, right?
We're
there. Right, Jason?
Yes.
Yes. All right, everyone. So I want to thank you all for listening to our What We Got Wrong, Episode 2, John Carpenter's The Thing. I am Jake. With me, as always, co-host extraordinaire, and the only man who will sit through this and actually edit these, Tevis at Master Control, and tied to the guest chair, author, journalist, editor, professor, paranormal expert, Jason Offutt. Thank you so much for joining us and sitting through whatever conversation this was.
Well, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. I just feel like I've had my NPR voice on the whole time. Maybe next time I won't. So if there is one.
Yeah, you don't have to be professional here.
Pineapple.
So before we fully sign off, Jason, what is going on in your world that people can, we touched on a little bit in the beginning, but hit us up. How can they get a hold of your work, what you're up to, if they're interested more in what you have to offer?
Well, I've got a website, www.jasonoffutt.com, JASONOFFUTT. There's all sorts of ways to contact me. I'm on Twitter. I will not call it X. I'm on Twitter, Threads, Instagram, Facebook. Where else can you find me, man? My books are on Amazon. They're also on my website. My email is jason@jasonoffutt.com. So I'd love to hear from anybody and everybody.
There you go. So let everyone know why he's wrong, or everyone let him know why he's wrong, whatever I'm saying. And what projects do you have coming out? What can they look forward to?
Well, the sequel, I think I mentioned this earlier on in the show, the sequel to my award-winning, multiple, I won 2 awards for The Girl in the Corn. It's a horror novel that came out in 2022. The sequel, The Boy from Two Worlds, is coming out on June 4th. It's available for pre-order at my publisher, which is Camcat, CAMCAT, camcatbooks.com, or my website, or amazon.com, or barnesandnoble.com. It's all over there. And right now I am a little over half finished writing a book I'm under contract for, which is the sequel to my 2019 nonfiction book of American monsters. This one is called Chasing North American Monsters. I go from Canada all the way down to Panama and discuss all sorts of creepy crawlies between here and there.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get a hold of that.
Actually, so I can't think of so you'll have to help me. My wife and I really enjoyed one of your nonfiction pieces. what is it, like ghosts in your backyard or monsters outside?
Oh, it's called the yeah, it's What Lurks Beyond, the Paranormal in Your Backyard.
And because you start with paranormal stories in the town you live, and then the ring just gets gradually bigger as you know, and so it's a story from your backyard, and then the circle gets increasingly wider. And my wife and I both also really enjoyed that book, but also just enjoyed how you framed it with how the stories get slightly farther, you know what I mean?
Well,
slightly farther from your door.
What I did is for a while, in fact 4.5 years, I wrote a paranormal based newspaper column that appeared in a number of different newspapers across the Midwest, called From the Shadows. And I started getting contacted by people who read the column, and a lot of them were within a 100-mile radius of my house. So I'm like, wow, that's kind of nuts and scary. And I took a map and I drew a circle within a 100-mile radius of my house. And then I looked for all the paranormal occurrences in that 100-mile radius. And I found, of course, ghost stories. Ghost stories are everywhere, but I found time travel stories, a couple of pretty famous UFO encounters, demonic possession, mind-reading dog.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
all sorts of absolutely wacky fun, and as far as I know, true stories. And one of the conclusion that I came up with is, if all of those things are within 100 miles of my house, they're at 100 miles of your house as well. So, hey, sleep tight, folks.
All right. Thank you, Jason. So be sure to look him up, visit any number, his website, or anywhere you like to pick up your favorite books. Search his name. You're going to find something to pique your interest. I promise you there. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. We are Ticket Price. This has been our relook of what we got wrong at John Carpenter's The Thing. Stay tuned. If you enjoyed having Jason on the show, he will be joining us for a special episode, because all of our special guests, they come on, we do an episode like this, and then they get to pick a movie that we do a regular episode over. And Jason, what film was that? What did you pick out for us? Veronica. So stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you all for listening. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Have a good night. Have a good one. Something. Closing credits. Here comes the scrawl, everyone. I am nailing it on fire.